Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It's time for our weekly recap of Married at First Sight. This is season 13, episode 13, and it was titled Tears, Jeers, and 25-cent Martinis. All right, y'all, before I jump into this recap review, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And if you end up liking this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. All right, y'all, let's just jump right into it. This episode started on day 39. I'm not sure what day it ended because they started doing like the countdown until decision day. So I'm not sure what day it ended on. But this episode was basically about them meeting with the experts and sitting down, talking to the experts, and then kind of talking with each other about what they talked about with the experts. So in this one, it was Dr. Pepper and Pastor Kyle, and they sat down with each individual person. So, for example, if Dr. Pepper sat down with Bao, then Pastor Kyle would sit down with Johnny or whatever. They didn't swap or anything like that. When it first opened up, we saw Johnny and Ryan talking over pool or whatever. And Johnny was saying like the last few days with Bao have been good or whatever. She stepped it up. They went bowling. They had a good time bowling and stuff. And that their outings have not seemed forced or whatever. Ryan was basically saying he's been forcing stuff and it just doesn't feel real to him or whatever. And then Johnny was, because Ryan said something about, they were trying too hard or whatever. And then Johnny gonna say, well, yeah, Bao seemed like she trying too hard or whatever. I said, now she trying too hard. Like, you can't get this girl no credit or nothing, child. And then Ryan was basically saying, like, he can't focus on the positive all the time. He can't just forget the issues and just chug along like nothing's happened and stuff. And Johnny thought that Ryan was really taking like a negative view on the whole situation. I said, duh, and so are you. But whatever. Let's start with Bao and Johnny. So Bao and Johnny, they're chatting, and they're in the bedroom. They're chatting in the bedroom. And this is after Johnny finished playing pool with Ryan. And so he tells Bao, maybe Ryan wasn't the person that I should talk to because he doesn't he's not looking at the positive in the situation. So maybe I shouldn't have talked to him or whatever. He was saying like in their relationship with Bao, Johnny and Bao, that there's a lack of trust, communication, and a solid friendship. And he feels as though if they had all those three, that their relationship would be strong. She kind of sort of disagrees because she's like, well, you want to put the friendship before the relationship, and the friendship, if we're just being friends and friendly, then the romantic stuff could die down and that could decrease the romantic feelings and stuff like that. Right now, he don't even want the intimacy, so they're not even having sex or anything like that. And she like said that, because I guess he said it wasn't no spark or nothing like that, and she calls BS because she said it was a spark. And then of course we see scenes where he was like, oh, my wife got a fat butt. Oh, she looked good. They was doing like the nurse patient thing. So there was a spark there. So now she like, well, when was the spark gone? And now he's saying it wasn't no spark at all. Like, make this make sense. Like, something ain't right here or whatever. And he don't want to have sex. He don't want no kissing. He just, removed it or whatever. So she was saying like, it seemed like I'm only doing a lot of stuff to please you, but the relationship consists of both of us. And he getting upset, and I'm like, what you getting upset for? Like, she ain't really say nothing real drastic over like that. She honestly said that this relationship has both of us. Like, if I want some sexual satisfaction and you talk about you don't want nothing, like, what's that do for me? Or whatever. So he like, well, we can just not do this at all. We don't have to do this or whatever. So she like, what? He getting out the bed, he going in the bathroom, child. What he say? She was like, well, we just talking, like we just having a conversation, like we're not, saying like this is solid or this is right, this is wrong, and nothing like that. We just having a conversation. And he like, well, what did he say? Oh, she was saying to us, like in her confessional or whatever like that, she was just saying like, Johnny is not happy because Johnny just doesn't want to be happy. And he needs to figure out how he could be happy in this relationship. He don't want to be happy because he don't want to be in this relationship, whatever like that. he's saying, well, I just want to build the foundation. Like, we was having fun. We was having light-hearted conversations. But because of, because he did end up coming back to the bed and he said all this. He was like, but because of tonight's conversation, all that's lost and stuff. And she was like, well, how is that all lost? Like, the friendship has been working, but the friendship is not a marriage. Like, we married or whatever. So, child, that's how it pretty much ended in the bedroom or whatever. When it came time for them to meet the experts, Bao, she sat down with Pastor Kyle, and Johnny sat down with Dr. Pepper. And Bao was basically saying, like, she feels checked out. She's saying, like, she married a man who wasn't ready for marriage or whatever. And he cuts her down. He is very mean. He is very disrespectful. He does not appreciate what she's doing. And she feels like her idea, she will get more out of this marriage. Like, she's in it for the marriage, but he is basically not in it for the marriage. And she was telling Pastor Kyle that she feels as though Johnny is 80% out of the door, and he's her husband on paper, but in like real life, no. And so she was like, I don't understand why he can be so malicious and stuff. And it's frustrating her. And then she started getting all emotional and stuff. And she was saying, like, he's not emotionally mature. And they got a lot to work through and resolve before decision day. That's what Pastor Kyle said. He was just like, well, y'all got a lot to work through and before decision day or whatever. Like, duh. Like, and then he was saying, like, you got to ask him the question, like, did he feel like he was ready to be married? And then he was saying, like, what was he saying? He was saying, like, y'all got to keep the conversation on, like, a level 1. Because she was saying, like, when they have deep conversations, that's where it go left. But when they have, like, lighthearted conversations, it's okay. But as soon as they get to the nitty gritty and stuff, he get an attitude because he don't see her perspective. Like, it's all this extra stuff. So, Pastor Kyle was saying, well, let's keep it at a level 1 conversation, have a light conversation. And she's thinking like, well, I'm not no chit chatter. Like, I don't like small talk. Like, I like the deep conversations, but whatever. Let's see what, we can do. And Johnny, he was saying to Dr. Pepper, because Dr. Pepper was like, well, we see everything, but I'm just now getting down to talk to you or whatever. And she was saying, like, he was saying something like, well, I'm with someone I don't want to be with. And then he was like, and when I'm with her, I'm with someone who, I'm with someone, what did he say? Let me see. I'm with her, and she's making me be someone I don't want to be. That's what he said. I couldn't get it out. And then he was just saying, like, they don't argue well. And she was like, well, you got a lot of stuff that you need to apologize for. And the crazy thing to me is the fact that he didn't even apologize for the stuff he said to her. Like, you was wrong. You was mean. Like, you was saying mean-ish to her. But for somebody else to step in and tell you, like, you got to apologize to her, like, that's BS for me. Like, I just, And so she was like, when you can get upset, you can get angry, but you need to work on ways to communicate when you are angry, and you need to work on ways to say that you are angry or whatever. And she basically said y'all need to communicate and think of new ways to communicate. And he was saying, like, he don't want to fix the problem at that time. He want to fix the root of the problem, the source of the problem. And he doesn't see, like, why Bao thinks a different way than he does and stuff. And he was just like, let's feel like we living in the same life, but we see things completely different. And so Dr. Pepper was like, well, you got to look at her perspective. Like, you got to consider her perspective and stop trying to win and keep score or whatever. And he was just like, well, I would like to incorporate the things that we talked about, but I just gotta get Bao on board. And when he said that, I was just like, you really didn't hear nothing she said, because now you talking about you gotta get her on board. Like, she already been on board. Like, Johnny triggers the ish out of me, y'all, because I have dated someone like Johnny. I'm a survivor. Okay. So then they end up meeting up, Bao and Johnny. So they discussing what they talked about, child. He's talking about he got a lot of things he regrets. and he wants to apologize for those things that he said to her or whatever because he regretted saying them. Did you really? Or did you really just apologize because Dr. Pepper had brought it up and then you thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I should apologize for somebody else calling me out on my bullshit? But anyway, she's not really buying the apology. I wasn't buying the apology. It didn't really seem sincere. It just, like I said, it seemed like he apologized because Dr. Pepper said so. But anyway, he was saying, like, how can we improve on our communication? And she was just like, well, I would like to say what's on my mind and not fear that if you disagree with what I'm saying on my, what I'm saying or how I'm feeling or whatever, that it's going to be like this whole thing. Like, I don't want you to go left because I'm speaking my mind and I'm trying to communicate something with you. So he's just like, she was just like, because you got to see it from, the other person's perspective or whatever. So he seemed like he had a whole attitude about that, like he already doing it. No, you're not. So then she was also saying, I want you to be fully involved and not run away. And he was saying like he just run away because he needs to take a breather and all this other stuff. So she was like, well, it looks like it's a pattern of you leaving and stuff. And I just need you to be more present in our marriage or whatever. And she was just like, I feel like things are turning around, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't need to be talked that way. And I need you to treat me with some respect. So he claimed that he was ready to be married. And then this fool says, I was ready to be married and I was looking at this as a blank canvas. Get it out. A blank canvas and stuff like that. And then when I saw it was you that I married, I was just kind of like, oh, wow. And then, we knew each other for 15 years. So we could have been dated or whatever like that. And, the reason why we didn't date is because I wasn't attracted to you. Otherwise, we would have went on a second date. So now you just discounted everything. You just null and voided all of the stuff that you had said to Dr. Pepper. You just voided out all the stuff that you just said to this girl right here. That you went back to being mean and malicious. Like, why would you even say that? Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, y'all here today. Y'all married today. Like, why would you even say, even if you thought it, why would you say it out your mouth? Now you telling her again that you're not attracted to her. Like, what was the point of that? Like, please tell me what the point of that was because I missed it. Like, Johnny just gets on my nerves. And if I see, he gets on my nerves. Oh my God. So then she looking like, did he really just say that? So then she feeling cut down again because like we just talked about communicating in a better way and then you do that. Like, what was the point of that? Like, somebody please tell me. And then he say several times that he was attracted to her, so you was lying, but you calling her a liar? Like, who can trust you? Like, So anyway, let's move on from them, child. So Gil and Mirla. Gil met with Pastor Kyle. And he was saying like he had a good time because Pastor Kyle was like, well, how the marriage going? He was like, well, I'm liking marriage now since I got my kids. Pastor Kyle was like, okay. So he was like, well, why you think we matched y'all up? He was like, well, she's very caring, she's loving, she's honest, and I'm passionate. So that's how we, linked up and stuff like that. And he was just like, I'm not scared to tell her anything. Like I could just talk to her or whatever about anything. And he was saying, like, have you thought about decision day? And are there any unanswered questions that will make you say no on D-Day? And he was basically saying, like, her moods, where she get to where she in, like, a negative mood, where, like, she don't want to do nothing. Like, they show scenes where she was like, she don't want to take the body shot. She don't want to go paddleboarding. She don't want to do this. And it's kind of like, it kind of brings the mood down or whatever. And he doesn't want that to ruin the relationship. Mirla, she meeting with Dr. Pepper. Child, she done had some 25-cent martinis, so she is lit. Okay, I said 25-cent martinis. Where that's because she was lit. I don't know how many of them martinis she had, but she was gone with the wind. Okay, she did tell Dr. Pepper that she was enjoying marriage and stuff like that and whatever. And she was like, well, what questions do you have? And she was just like, well, I want to ask him, what does he need from me to make him happy? Like, on a consistent basis or whatever like that, because she said she wants to make this work. And she was saying like she was very critical, and Dr. Pepper was like, yeah, you was very critical. And then they showed flashes of her like, this hotel, because the pool, the neighbors, the all this other stuff or whatever. She was like, I mean, yeah, you know, I can't be like that or whatever. And so Dr. Pepper was telling her like the consistent rain of criticism can change the mood and be a problem in the marriage. So you don't really want that to be a problem in the marriage. And so she really got emotional. Mirla, she started crying, but it was like happy tears, because she was saying she was grateful of the marriage. She feels really happy. And she didn't really think that she was going to get, she said she always thought that she was going to get married, but she didn't think that she was going to get everything that she wanted in a marriage. And she said that she's getting, everything plus. So Dr. Pepper basically was like, well, just work on your negativity and stuff. And so, Mirla and Gil meet up. Child, she's still drunk. And he asked her some questions about her being a Debbie Downer, like, why are you that way? Like, what happens and stuff. And he was telling her, like, when you're like that, that can change the mood, and I don't want you to change my mood because of that or whatever. And she said it's because she's an introvert, and sometimes she's uncomfortable, and she's not happy when she's uncomfortable and stuff like that. And so she did ask him, like, what can I do in that moment? Like, what can I do to make you feel comfortable or something like that in that moment and stuff? And or I think he asked her too, and she said to be a buffer. And then his response was, well, just don't do it. And she was like, well, really? And he was like, well, no, seriously though, like, if you feel like you're in that mood, just be more affectionate with me, like touch me more, hug me and stuff like that, and that will make you not feel like you want to be down or negative and stuff like that. So she was like, oh, okay, well, I'll try it or whatever. So she was open to it. I'm really shocked at the whole turnaround for them, but like I said in my other one I did yesterday, I mean, they're doing good now, but for some reason, I don't see them being together. And it could be her negative mood, because you can't shake that right away. That you got to work on that. That's like a daily thing that you got to change your negative mood or your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. That's something she got to work at daily. And she can't fall back on, when she... Because it's easy to fall back to something that you're comfortable with versus keep being positive. So it may take her a couple tries to get it right. But I don't know if Gil, I mean, he patient, but I don't know. Because if her mood keep bringing down his mood, then it ain't going to work, child. But anyway, let's move on to Michaela and Zach. Because we already know, backtrack. We already know Johnny and Bao ain't gonna be together. Gil and Mirla is still a 50-50. Michaela and Zach, they ain't gonna be together, child. But let's move on to them. Okay, so Michaela sat down with Pastor Kyle, and Zach sat down with Dr. Pepper. So Michaela says that things have been going a lot better. They only had like 1 week of good, and everything is still kind of new. And Pastor Kyle asked her, like, why we met y'all up. She was like, because we're both goofy. We both are, like a challenge. We're both strong-headed and stuff like that. And he was like, what, any unanswered questions? And she said, I want to know what his actual picture of marriage is, because Zach always brings it up. Like, I wanted this marriage so bad. I wanted this so bad and stuff like that. So she want to know, like, what was his visualization of marriage or whatever? Like, what does he see of marriage and stuff? And she was just basically like, she want him to be happy. She wants Zach to be happy. She wants happy Zach and all this other stuff. And Pastor Kyle was like, well, don't you feel like you should help him be happy? She was like, well, that's a lot of responsibility to make another grown person happy. He was like, yeah, but you don't have to, like, you can add to their happiness. And he was like, I know I don't make my wife happy. Something he said about his wife, like, but he adds to her happiness or whatever, and he makes sure that she is happy, because you can't something like you're not responsible for their happiness, but you're responsible for how you present yourself in their life or something like that, and make them happy, yada yada yada. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say, because I can't get it out. But anyway, she was just like, oh, okay, so she was like, well, he can be kind of complicated and stuff. But he was like, well, yeah, but you got to try to add, you want him to be happy Zach and stuff, but try to figure out how you can contribute to his happiness and stuff like that. So, and then try to make a safe place to bring back happy Zach. So she was thinking about it or whatever. Zach, on the other hand, with Dr. Pepper, he was like, Dr. Pepper was like, well, how do you feel like the marriage is so far? He was like, well, we had some rough times and stuff, but we worked through some issues. And I feel as though if we have like these rules and methods and stuff like that, we can get back on track and whatever. And then he said something about he missing out on his meant to be or whatever. And she asked him, was he happy? And he seemed like he was confused on if he was happy or not. So I was like, no, he's not happy. So then Dr. Pepper was just like, she don't feel like things are meant to be. She feels as though things are opportunities. So if we put you in this situation, this is an opportunity for you to grow and for you to know this person, see how this person can match in your life or whatever. So you got to take that time and put that work in to, see if this person is meant for you or whatever like that. And so he was like, okay. So, he was saying like last week was good and last week was amazing. And if we can continue this way, then he's very optimistic about the future or whatever. So he wanted to ask Michaela how to make her feel secure. And, what was it? He wants her to be herself, basically. He don't want her to be walking around on eggshells because she's scared to say stuff because he might leave or he might pop off or something like that. So he just wants her to be herself, and he wants to figure out how to make the living situation secure enough for her. And then Dr. Pepper was asking him, like, when y'all argue, do you feel like you asked the right questions? And he started crying and getting all emotional, talking about something. No, he don't feel like he asked the right questions, and he's a perfectionist, and he feel like nothing he do is good enough in his life or whatever. And he putting that on Michaela when it shouldn't be on Michaela. That's something he need to work through and stop being a perfectionist. But then he was like, well, it worked thus far in my life, so maybe I'm doing something right, but I can't be this way in relationships and stuff like that. And so I can't view everything as being perfect. That's why I'm not in a relationship or whatever. And I was just like, you ain't gonna change. You're not gonna change. And then the fact that the reason why I say he's not gonna change is because he claims that he has done this so far in his life, being perfect, making things perfect, the perfect situation, and he's gotten far in life. So he's not gonna be so set on not being perfect in a relationship because he feels as though he was perfect in all his other stuff, so that went well. So why this ain't going well? I gotta be perfect in that too. He ain't gonna change. So anyway, him and Michaela met up. She was saying like, the meetups were both of them was saying the meetups was very productive. And he was saying like he had cried, and she was like, oh, do tell. And he was like, well, I figured out that I'm a perfectionist, and that made me all emotional and stuff like that. And because I'm putting that on you. So she asked him like, what was your ideal of marriage and stuff? And so he was saying like, I imagine me and my wife cooking breakfast while the kids running around and we listening to music and stuff like that. And I just feel like happy, and I just feel unbelievable happy and stuff. And she was saying like she wanted somebody who was romantic and like she wanted to feel like she was in a partnership. So then she asked like, what are the goals for this marriage or whatever? And he was like, well, just to continue to know each other and communicate, and then maybe we can both, build a future or whatever. And she was saying like she still had her guard up because like they're 4 weeks away from decision day, and they not really having the conversations that they should have, like where we gonna live, what we gonna do, like what's our plan, stuff like that, because they too busy having these stupid ass arguments, and then he leaving, and then she blowing up, and it's just crazy or whatever. And so he was asking her, what can I do to make you feel secure? And she said, your words and your actions. I don't know exactly what words you should use, but I feel as though you should use some words and actions and stuff like that. He was just like, okay, well, I feel like, I can do that. She don't believe him. And he says he wants the relationship to be long term. I'm like, So anyway, let me pause right there on the whole meetups, because then we saw at the end where Michaela and Zach, they got back to the house, got back to the apartment and stuff like that, and they was fussing or whatever. So they all had like this big meetup. They was playing volleyball and stuff like that, and some of the couples was chatting. It was just basically small talk and basically the same stuff. Johnny was saying he wasn't happy and yada yada yada, and Bao was telling Brett that she related to Brett because Johnny was rude and disrespectful and all this other stuff, and Brett was like, yeah girl, I feel you, he ain't rude, but he ain't, giving the attention he's supposed to give. But anyway, Michaela and Zach was fussing or whatever, and she wanted to sleep in a separate bed. The reason why they was fussing is because they asked each other, if today was decision day, what would you stay in a relationship? They both said no. And so she was just like, well, we both say no on decision day. Why are we going to sleep in the same bed? Which I feel as though she was being real petty, because you asked the question about if today was decision day. You still got like 4 more weeks or 3 more weeks or whatever like that. You don't know what can change in those 3 weeks. So why are you going to cause more problems and add more problems to not sleeping in the same bed? So he felt some type of way about not sleeping in the same bed, because he like, well, something can change and you change your mind every day or whatever. And she was like, yeah, in this situation, I do have the right to change my mind or whatever. So he like, so why would you, not sleep in the same bed with me or whatever? So they go into this whole thing. He gets upset. He turns off his diary cam. She turned hers back on. And then she ended up saying like they was sitting in the thing and they asked about decision day and it was no whatever. And then she said, I don't know. So he was like, but that's not what happened. That's not what you said. And she said, I did. We both said no if today was decision day. But on decision day, I don't know what I will say. So he took that as she was backtracking or lying, but I understood what she was saying. He really wasn't understanding what she was saying. She was saying if today was decision day, I would say no. But we still got 3-4 more weeks to go, so things can change. So on actual decision day in 4 weeks, I don't know what I will say, whatever, because things have been up and down, up and down. So he was just basically like, she lying, or yada, yada, yada. So then they got into this whole thing. He didn't want to stay there no more. So he wanted to go home. He ended up calling his brothers on Zoom because he ended up leaving. And she was just like, she sent him a text message telling him like, since you left the apartment last night, which I did not want, I just wanted to sleep in separate beds. When you get home, I'll be packed up and I'm going to go. So I'm like, now you causing more issues. Like, why are you causing more issues or whatever? Now you packing up. Won't you just sit down and talk to him? And why you ain't sit down and talk to him when he left, before he left, and told him like, look, I don't want you to go. Like, why you wanted him to go? And like, come on, like y'all doing this kid shit. Like, how old is we? But anyway, he ended up telling the brothers and stuff, and he was just like, well, I came back and she was packed up. She had packed up all the seasoning and stuff, and the brother was like, oh, well, see, that's childish. That's beyond rude and all this other stuff, especially when you've been trying. Michaela been trying too, but her guard up. So it's like all their guards is up. Both of them don't trust each other. Both of them don't see for each other at this moment. So it's just like pretty much it's a wash. She also did say in the text message, which he did not read, was like in the couples retreat or the weekend or whatever like that, we can still go. We don't have to, be at each other's heads. We can still have a good, relaxing time without any anxiety on both parts or whatever. As soon as we find out the location, and we can go and do whatever like that. He ended up hanging up with his brothers, and then he was calling her, and she ain't answer the phone. So I was just like, look, that's the whole rap. Like, I'm tired of them too. They be fighting over petty shit, and then he always want to leave. Like, why are we leaving? If you marry in real life, you don't have another apartment to go to. You might have your couch or extra bedroom. Why you can't go to the extra bedroom or the couch? Why you got to go to your other apartment? Like, you gotta play this out like it's real life. Like, you married for real, because you is married for real. Like, these people get divorced. Like, they gotta go through the whole divorce paperwork. They can't just rip up the paper and say, you know what, we ain't on the show no more, so we ain't married. Like, y'all married for real. So, like, why you gotta keep running back to your apartment? Like, why is we doing this? Why you gotta keep moving out and moving to your apartment? Like, why is we doing this? Like, y'all need to sit down, act like y'all don't have no separate apartments and work this ish out. Like, marriage is hard. Like, being a stranger and trying to find out what you compare and do all this other stuff with, and what you like and what you don't like, and all this, that shit is hard. Like, relationships ain't easy. If relationships was easy, everybody be in one, everybody be married. It wouldn't be no damn divorces. So, like, come on now. Like, this just irritates me. Anyway, y'all, I don't see them. They not gonna be together. So yeah. Brett and Ryan, they ain't gonna be together neither. Ryan gets on my nerves. He like Eeyore. Brett met with Pastor Cal. Yeah, Brett met with Pastor Cal, and Ryan met with Dr. Pepper. Brett basically was saying, like, it's a small percentage of them staying together. She was saying, like, if he's willing and trying, then she will be willing to try and stay as well, but he not. She was saying, like, the honeymoon, they was, everything was good and stuff like that. They was just breezing. They was having, like, all these conversations and stuff. But now it's just like he feel like he's just going through the motions and stuff like that. And she was saying, like, what is gonna she was telling Pastor Kyle, like, I'm trying, but is this going to make me happy forever? Like, is he capable of giving me what I need and stuff? And so Pastor Kyle was asking her some questions. She said, well, he not really talking to me. He not really emotional. He don't really talk to me. Ain't no physical, no emotional, nothing. Like, I'm not getting nothing. Like, I'm getting like a bored or whatever. And so she want to ask Ryan, what thought, what did he think his wife would be or whatever, and also, when did you give up? And then she was saying, because Pastor Kyle was like, you need to ask her, like, ask him, like, what did you see in a wife? Because you keep saying, like, I'm not your type. And she was like, oh, I know I'm not his type or whatever, and I know he don't want to be married to me or whatever. And he was like, well, you just need to talk, you need to communicate. And he also told her what he told Bao, like, he's seen rougher relationships and stuff, and people have turned it around like that and been married forever and ever and ever. So I'm like, Pastor Kyle, that's nice and dandy and stuff like that, but they probably knew each other. Like, I don't know. Was he talking about Married at First Sight, or was he talking about something else, child? Because, girl. Anyway, Ryan, he over there meeting with Dr. Pepper and stuff like that. And he was telling Dr. Pepper, when Dr. Viviana had met with them, that's where things kind of went south to him. And that was 15 days ago. So he was saying, like, no. Dr. Pepper was saying, like, you keep finding all the negative. And you say, oh, well, she do this, check. Oh, well, she don't do that, check. So you keep checking stuff off, but you need to talk to her and let her know how you feeling. Like, we not mind readers around here. Like, you need to talk to her, let her know what she not doing right, or what y'all need to work on, and yada, yada, yada. He claims he gonna put more effort in it. Child, boo. He lying. So they get together, they sit down together, and they supposed to be asking each other these questions. Child, they ain't asked each other nothing. It was just ridiculous. It was just pointless. And like, Brett checked out, Ryan checked out. So basically, they just going with the motions at this point. And my thing is, like, why? Just why? So y'all can get y'all paycheck. Because at this point, like, it's just pointless. I would be like, you know what? I'm going to my apartment. Let me know when I got to meet up at a certain location. I'll meet you there, but I'm not really doing this with you. I'm not going to be in this house with you. They sleeping in separate beds. So, like, what's the point? Like, what's the purpose and the point? And then she ended up talking to, Brett ended up talking to his sister. And the sister made it seem like, because she was like, well, when did everything change or whatever? And she was like, because on the honeymoon, I talked to him and he seemed like everything was going well. Everything was going good and stuff like that. So what changed? And she was like, I don't know. It seemed like when we got back here, things kind of like shifted. And she was like, yeah, that's what I thought you was going to say. It's like he got something here that's holding him back from letting go and being with you or whatever. So she made it seem like he still got somebody that's in Texas that he still want to be with, and that he can't seem to let go. That's why he can't seem to embrace what Brett is. And that's not fair at all. Like, that's bullshit. Like, ugh, child. And then Brett had ended up showing how Ryan had ended up showing how messy Brett is. Like, she messy. Like, she is like, girl, if you don't clean up, like, I understand getting off work and throwing your clothes on the floor or whatever like that and hopping in the shower and stuff. But girl, is we okay? Like, they not going to be together. No. Rachel and Jose, they like 50-50. I don't know. Like, they 50-50 because they seem like they want to be together, but something telling me they not going to stay together, and I need to figure out why. But Jose ended up meeting with Dr. Pepper, I think. And I believe Rachel met with Pastor Cal, or was it the other way around? No, it was Jose met with Dr. Pepper and Rachel met with Pastor Cal, because Dr. Pepper told Jose that you can be a little controlling and stuff like that, and he said he need to work on that. He did say that he's happy with the relationship and he needs to find a balance of not being so controlling and stuff like that. So he does realize that he can be controlling. He said that he got an independent woman and that's what she is. And he, he got to figure out how to, maintain in this relationship or whatever. And he wants to know what he can do to make her feel safe and, all that other good stuff. What else, child? I think that was it. Oh, and then he wants to figure out what he can do to help her trust him forever, because he wants to be a forever husband. Because they did show clips of when she was saying like she would bounce and stuff like that. But my thing is she didn't bounce, so that should show you that she changed. And I think I had said that before. Rachel said that she's happy with Jose and stuff like that. She knows that Jose is the man for her. He's everything she asked for plus more. And she just wants to kind of get to know him a little bit more. And she says that she can be her true self and she's loved for it and whatever. And she doesn't feel like he expresses himself in a way to help her know who he is or whatever. And she wants to ask him about the incident of being locked out. Like, he said it was an accident and stuff, but she don't know. And then he has that temper and he can be very vindictive. So she kind of leery about, what that is or whatever. They did talk and she did tell him, like, I realized that I'm not single, Rachel, and that we got to kind of talk about stuff. And she asked him what got him to the point where he popped off and locked her out. And he was basically saying like he just needs time to cool off and he has to do better with communicating that and getting her trust, because he does want her to be his wife and stuff like that no matter what. So that was pretty much it. Like I said, they did all meet up to play sand volleyball. Everybody did show up. Bao was kind of late, so Gil had thought that Bao wasn't showing up, so that determined how Johnny and her relationship was. But then Bao ended up showing up late with a cheerleading costume on. They all had a good time and stuff like that. And then, like I said, Bao and Brett had bonded over their failed dudes or whatever. And that was pretty much it. I want to make sure I got everything. Let me make sure, child, because I got notes all over everything. Yeah, that was pretty much it, y'all. That was it for the episode. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the episode. What y'all feel about these couples. I know I'm pretty much over it, and I'm ready for the season finale. But y'all let me know what y'all felt down there in the comments. If y'all are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And if you ended up liking this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.